I've done the research and we're breaking down the most common updates homeowners wish they never did so you don't make the same costly mistakes. Let's go through these one by one, starting with backyard money pits. We have all seen those jaw-dropping backyard kitchens with the built-in grills, the sinks, and even the mini fridges. But you know what? Most homeowners barely use them. It's funny too because so many people who install these extravagant outdoor kitchens always have grand ideas of how they will use them. And you know what happens? And this happens all the time. Just like anything fun and exciting, the joy eventually wears off and they just forget to even use it. Here is the other aspect of it. They sound great in theory until you realize they are expensive to maintain, they take up a lot of space, and in the colder climates, like where I'm at in Philly, they sit unused for half of the year or more. I see some of these, again, in my area, and you know that they're only going to be used for like 5 months out of the year. And look, I don't want to poo-poo your dreams of installing your outdoor paradise, but you just have to be mindful of how costly they are, how much upkeep they need, and how a lot of buyers aren't going to be very interested in taking on the tasks of keeping it up and keeping it nice when you do decide to sell. All in all, I don't believe it's a good return on your investment. Do you want to know what a smarter update would be? A simple setup, a simple patio setup with a quality grill and seating area is a way better investment. And you can do this for significantly cheaper and the return on investment will be much better. Now let's move on to the next outdoor update that most homeowners regret. And look, I get it. Pools seem like the ultimate backyard upgrade, especially if you have young kids like me who are always begging to go to the pool in the summer. But what most homeowners, actually the majority of homeowners, don't realize is that the maintenance is nonstop. Your insurance cost will go up, and let's be real, kids grow up and they just stop using them. It's funny because my brother and I grew up in Philadelphia and he moved out to Southern California about 13, 14 years ago. And I remember how excited he was about buying a home with a pool. And honestly, in Southern California, it makes a lot of sense to have a pool because of how hot it is throughout the entire year. But I remember so many times talking to him and hearing how he complained about the upkeep and how he's always out there doing something to fix it and to keep the swimming levels safe, right? You have to balance the pH and you have to do this and that and you're cleaning and you have all these other kind of gadgets just to make it make sense, right? And the return on the investment, most pools add way less value than they cost to install, like way less value. Unless you're in a hotter climate where pools are the norm, like Southern California or Florida. For the vast majority of the US, pools do not add value. If you're interested in a smarter move and your kids are literally begging you for a pool, research a quality above ground pool. They are lower maintenance and they often hold that quality much better than an in-ground pool. They aren't going to add much value when it comes to selling it, so it's just more for you and for your personal use. Next up on the outdoor list is something that I've seen before a lot and just scratch my head about it. And this is big backyard playgrounds, right? They seem like a dream when the kids are young, but homeowners often regret when their kids outgrow them really fast and much faster than they expected. And I'll tell you this firsthand, from having young kids, they are always super excited about something and it quickly fizzles out. And I've seen some pretty splendid wooden playground paradises that I know for sure cost upwards of $5,000 or more, especially where I live now in Chester County. And look, I get it. You want to do as much as you can for your kids. You want to give them what they want. You want to give them everything that you didn't have, but you don't have to break the bank to do so. Kids will be able to make the best of anything. They don't need this giant wooden palace that takes up, 3/4 of your backyard. And after a few years, they're just an eyesore and it's a pain in the butt to get rid of them. And you're certainly going to be spending a lot of time trying to maintain them as well. Here is a much better idea for you. Go with a modular playset or one that you can resell later. I've seen countless playsets for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and they always get snatched up. And if you really want the best bang for your buck, just buy one off of Facebook Marketplace, you're going to get a really great deal. As long as you have the means to transport it, you'll be golden. And I'm telling you, people will sell it for way, way less than they actually pay for it. So let me know in the comments below if you've considered any of these outdoor renovations and what you think now. All right, let's move inside the house now, because some of these luxury upgrades, they're not as great as they seem. First up is an update that I've seen a good amount, and from chatting with other homeowners and from being in the real estate business and helping sellers, they just aren't worth it. It may be tempting to splurge on a Sub-Zero fridge with a touchscreen or a commercial grade Wolf stove, but here's the truth. Most people do not need them. Now, I will say this, I think that these types of high-end appliances make sense in million-dollar homes, but like for the rest of us, you don't need them. And you're not going to want to deal with them if there is an issue, and I promise you that. They come with really expensive repairs, unnecessary features that you'll never use, and sometimes you don't even get to enjoy them as much as you would like to because they end up breaking for some reason. Just go with a mid-range option. I've talked to so many people who have owned Sub-Zero fridges, and when something goes wrong, it's like a small fortune to fix it. Heck, I just remodeled my kitchen 4 years ago, and we opted to go for a slightly higher end GE appliance package. We literally just spent 3 weeks dealing with not having a fridge because the condenser went, and it has been so much of a pain to deal with the warranty department and the repair people. It's a huge headache, but luckily we had an extra fridge in our basement, which is probably like 15 or 20 years old, and we've never had any issues with it. They just don't make them like they used to. So do yourself a favor. I know you might feel like you want to keep up with the Joneses, but you don't have to, and you shouldn't. Instead, invest in reliable mid-tier appliances. They perform just as well, generally with fewer headaches. But honestly, I would really do some research into the warranties that are offered and make sure they are at least 5 years, right? 5 years, and they cover a decent amount. And speaking of warranties, one of the best ways that you can maximize your equity when you're selling is choosing the right agent to work with. If you need to be connected with an agent anywhere in the US or Canada, just click that link below in the description to connect with me, and I'll do all the hard work of finding and vetting the right agent for you. All right, moving on. I see this next home update that people regret a good amount, a large amount. And I mean, honestly, who doesn't want that giant freestanding bathtub smack dab in your bathroom that you'll use maybe 6 times? Look, they're incredible. In magazines, they look amazing. But in real life, they take up so much space and they're a pain in the butt to clean, and they barely get used. It's really funny because I have worked with clients who have these in their homes, and all they say to me is they barely use them. They barely use them over the years. So now you have this giant bathtub in your bathroom that isn't getting used, and it's just collecting dust. When my wife and I purchased our home in 2018, the previous owners installed a jetted jacuzzi tub right in the master bath, and we were thrilled. We were super excited, and we couldn't wait to use it. I can literally count on 2 hands how many times that we've used it until I started doing ice baths, right? So if I didn't do ice baths, I would have used it maybe like 3 or 4 times. But the cool thing is our kids love to get bubble baths in it, so now it at least is giving us some personal value. Here's a much better idea for you. Unless you love to take long baths all the time, a luxury shower is a way better investment. I mean, everyone takes a shower pretty much once a day, right? You're not going to regret splurging on a luxury shower, and they do hold their value, especially when it comes time to sell. Next up, we have an update that I personally love, but after having conversations with people who don't, they all agree. And it is the farmhouse style open shelves, which has been super popular for years. I get the appeal. I absolutely do. And we actually installed open shelving in our last home, but you have to do so sparingly. The big issue is when people do this, they do not do it right. They will literally sacrifice so much upper cabinet space for open shelving for aesthetics, but the practicality is just not there. They collect dust. Clutter is guaranteed to build up, and if you're not constantly styling them, they just look like a mess. I don't know when the trend of looks over functionality started, but we need to get back to the basics. I absolutely love my kitchen, and my wife and I designed it in a way to be way more functional than anything. We opted to go with a timeless look, lots of countertop space, and a lot of cabinet space. That's what people want when they're updating their kitchen or thinking about buying a home. If you can provide a well thought out functional kitchen when selling, you're going to win. This is the smarter move for you to make. If you love the open look, mix in some open shelving, but don't sacrifice all of your upper cabinet space. Just have one little area that fits well with the overall look of the kitchen, and I promise you're not going to regret it. Now, these next two upgrades, they're not just regrettable, they can actually hurt your home's value. Okay, I know this one may be a little controversial, but you have to consider all of the factors. You might think converting your garage into a home office, into a gym, or an extra bedroom, or an extra living space is a genius move, right? But here are some of the problems. Most buyers want a garage, especially in areas like the Northeast, the Atlantic, and the Midwest, where you get a lot of snow. Seriously, I would have gladly paid way more money for my home when we purchased if it had a garage. I know that a garage is going to add value to your home. When you convert a garage, it often feels disconnected from the rest of the house. You know, most garages are connected to the kitchen or like separated by some space. So when you convert it into extra living space, you actually feel like you're further away from the house. That actually may be good for some people though, especially if you work from home and you need to get away. And lastly, when you sell, you can lose buyers who need a place to park or store their tools or their junk. If you have a home with limited storage space already and you end up converting the garage, you're going to turn a lot of buyers off. And look, we have an obsession here in the US with having too much crap, and we need a place to store our crap, right? People don't want to pay extra for storage spaces if they can keep it all in their garage. Here are a few smarter moves that you can make. If you need extra space, consider a detached shed or an ADU, an additional dwelling unit. ADUs are huge right now. I'm going to be making a video about that really soon, and they provide a ton of value. Think about a basement remodel as well. If you have the space to do so, converting the basement, it's a great idea, and you will definitely add value. And lastly, you may be able to do an attic conversion. If you have a smaller attic, you could add dormers and make it a usable space. The next conversion we have is something that will absolutely not add value to your home, and it will take away value, and that is converting a bedroom into a walk-in closet. Look, I know people love the idea of giant walk-in closets, but if you have to sacrifice a bedroom to get one, you are taking away value from your home. I feel as if I can comfortably say this for all of us, especially here in the US, and that is that a bedroom is more valuable than a walk-in closet when it comes to resale. When my wife and I, when we purchased our home that we're in right now, we were super excited because we had the primary suite. We had the walk-in closet and the primary bathroom in a neighborhood that does not normally have that. So automatically right there, way more value than the other homes. We found out later that the previous owners actually converted a bedroom into the walk-in closet and the bathroom. And now I know this goes against what I just said, but what they did was actually very smart. They converted the attic space into an additional bedroom. So instead of selling us a 3-bedroom home, which would have sold for less, they were still able to sell us a 4-bedroom home. If you do decide to sacrifice a bedroom for a walk-in closet, I would highly suggest that you make it up elsewhere like the previous owners of my home did, or keep it reversible so future buyers can turn it back into a bedroom. If they do have to do this, you're still going to potentially get a lower offer because of the money that they're going to have to invest in the reconversion. Right. Now, how do you make sure that your home upgrades won't be a mistake? Smart homeowners follow these 4 super important rules. Number 1, live in your home for at least a year before making big changes. Number 2, prioritize functionality over aesthetics. A home that works for you is better than one that just looks great in photos. Number 3, budget properly. Then add at least 20% for unexpected costs. And number 4, think about resale value. You may love it, but will the future buyers see it the same way? Now, if you're serious about making the right renovations, check out this video here about the top renovations that will boost your home's value in 2025.